deeper conversation.
How many teachers in Uganda did you consult? But there's a mistake we are making.
Which is good.
Which is good.
Which is good.
Which is good.
We went to this school, we ran to Western, we ran to Northern, we ran, then you come.
Isn't that an achievement?
Objective and non-partisan.
Honorable Minister, there were a number of points. I want to start with you.
Straight from the hearts of open-minded men and women.
Money tends to move faster at night. So when people are not counting,
Don't take it for granted.
Candid and authentic.
Because Uganda is not Thailand.
That's not correct, and we should stop that kind of mentality. So what I'm saying
That's
is
a trick question. Don't answer.
I'm not getting into that. I'm not getting into that.
Tell him you speak Luo.
I think that's where we are beginning to have a problem.
I think what is going to kill the parish model are all the misconceptions on how it's supposed to run.
I know that the Prime Minister is listening.
Behind the headlines.
Charles, let us agree. We liberalized the economy.
We are several nations put together.
Why don't you appreciate that?
What if it fails?
I'm happy
And
to
he's
answer.
a good lawyer because Amin is not in power.
The parish development committee is functional. It is there. That there is a parish chief, that the beneficiaries do exist.
So we look at expenditure. We don't look at revenue. And that is the challenge we are giving them from Minister of Finance.
Your fountain of new knowledge, flowing into the mass body of knowledge.
First get the knowledge of Bukedia, how they want to be modernized.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
You return money to the treasury, which is meant for the people.
UBC, inspiring Uganda. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
My name is Dr. James Msinguzi, and I'm the Executive Director of the Uganda Wildlife Conservation Education Center in Entebbe. The center is popularly known as Entebbe Zoo, and I'm here to take you through the journey of the center, which started way back in 1952 as an animal orphanage. It was started by the colonial government as an animal orphanage where animals would be brought for rehabilitation. And in the 1960s, it became a traditional zoo where we used to have foreign animals, exotic animals like tigers and bears. They used to be here. And the center went through a political turmoil, as the whole country did, until 1994, when the center was re-established as the Uganda Wildlife Education Center with a 14-member board of trustees. This was done by the government of Uganda with support from the New York Zoological Society then, which is the Wildlife Conservation Society today. They came together with the government of Uganda and drew up a master plan that established the center as a conservation education center in the country, with a view of carrying out conservation education to all Ugandans and non-Ugandans as a way of promoting environmental conservation and proper management in the country. So in 1994, it was re-established as the Uganda Wildlife Education Center under the Trustee Deed Incorporation Act of 1994, and that went on until 2017. By then, it was run as a trust with a self-appointing board until 2017, when the government, through a bill of parliament, an act was made a bill was passed by parliament, assented to by His Excellency the President, and it was now re-established as the Uganda Wildlife Conservation Education Center. But most people still know it as Entebbe Zoo. So we've gone 70 years down the road, from 1952 up to 2022. In 2017, a 70-member board of trustees was established that has been providing policy direction to the institution under the leadership of the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, and the ministry guides and makes policy for the institution. So the institution was set up mainly to be the leading conservation education center in Africa as the main vision, and the mission is to carry out conservation education to teach Ugandans about the value of conserving biodiversity, with a special emphasis on the young generation. The young generation are the next leaders. The young generation are good at influencing adults, and the young generation can easily be influenced into positive self-conservation action. So we aim at emphasizing the young generation. Otherwise, the mandates include conservation education, mainly looking at environmental education and education for sustainable development. And this is done here at Entebbe Zoo, but also in communities and schools and around protected areas or national parks, with a special emphasis on the mindset change for people to be pro-conservation. The other mandate is rescue, rehabilitation, and release of wildlife. We go out, rescue wildlife that is in distress, but also wildlife that is being trafficked out of the country. There are people who are engaged in illegal wildlife trade and wildlife trafficking. So we come in, we rescue the wildlife, bring it here at Entebbe Zoo, rehabilitate it, and after rehabilitation, once we establish that they are okay to live on their own, we take them back into the wild. Those which are traumatized stay here and are used as ambassadors for those in the wild, but also for conservation education purposes. We also do captive breeding of endangered wildlife species. We've greatly succeeded in breeding species like lions, which we intend to reintroduce back into the wild, working with our partners, the Uganda Wildlife Authority. We also carry out edutainment. We want to teach the children and the adults about conservation education, about environmental management, about climate change effects. But we do that when they also have fun, because children need to learn as they play. So we also emphasize that as part of the mandates. We have the only wildlife hospital in the country, and at the moment we are establishing a biobank to be able to have a bank for genetic material for those animals that are in the wild. And so those are the major objectives and mandates of the center, why it was set up. Along the road, or along the journey, quite a lot has been achieved. First of all, we want to thank the government of Uganda for establishing a regulatory and legal framework that has been able to establish this center as a statutory body. We now have government funding which supports our activities. We collect money, which money is plowed back to government through the consolidated fund, and from that then the government gives back money to run the center activities. The other mandate is rescue, rehabilitation, and release of wildlife. We have so far, for the last 10 years, rescued over 1,000 animal individuals. These range from chimpanzees, from monkeys, to other animals and reptiles like snakes, pythons, elephants, and most of these are a result of human-wildlife conflicts that are happening in the communities. For example, we have got a lot of chimpanzees rescued from the Bunyoro area. We also have a lot of elephants that have been rescued from Queen Elizabeth National Park, especially baby elephants that have either been abandoned by their mothers or whose mothers have been killed and they are left abandoned. So we bring them here, rehabilitate them, and release them once we feel they are fit to survive on their own. If they cannot survive, then we make sure we keep them here for purposes of education and representing those that are in the wild. We use these animals to show the public their plight in the wild so that they can be able to support the conservation of these wild animals. Uganda's tourism industry largely depends on the wildlife that we have at the moment, much as we have other attractions like culture, like waterfalls, like hot springs. The preference at the moment is largely towards wildlife. So together we must work hard to conserve the wildlife so that the tourists can come and bring the dollars to be able to improve our economy, so that the Ugandans can go to the national parks, they can come to Entebbe Zoo, enjoy these wildlife, enjoy these wild animals and plants, pay some money, thereby boosting Uganda's economy. In China, most of their tourism is supported by the Chinese themselves. And COVID taught us that actually as Ugandans, we must come up and support our tourism by visiting our local attractions. I therefore urge Ugandans to visit Uganda's attractions, including Entebbe Zoo, including the national parks, Namugongo, Shrine, and many others, hot springs. There is a lot to see and enjoy. So by educating, by rescuing and inhabiting wildlife, we also carry out captive breeding of endangered wildlife species. We've successfully bred lions, and we're in the process of reintroducing them back into the wild, because one of the aspirations of any tourist is to see a cat like a lion in the wild. And so we would like to support the increment of Uganda's wild lion population, which stands at about 400 now, so that we can boost the numbers as a way of promoting tourism in the country. Coupled with those mandates and activities, there's quite a lot that has been achieved. First of all, when I talk about wildlife, I mean plants and animals. So in addition to increasing, we've increased the wild animal species and individual numbers here at Entebbe Zoo, so that when people come, they can be able to learn about a variety of individual animals, but also a variety of species. We've also worked hard on the side of the plants. As I talk, we have over 200 plant species here at the center. And mainly we are encouraging propagation of medicinal plant trees, fruit trees, as well as shade trees of indigenous origin. And what we've done is to set up a program where schools that visit, individuals that visit can get access to seedlings for them to be able to go and plant back home. So we've been able to increase the number of wild animals, species and individuals, as well as the number of the plant species that we have here at the center. We have recreated the center by reflecting Uganda's ecosystems. And therefore this center now acts as a window on Uganda. When you come here, you're able to learn about Uganda's ecosystems at a glance. We have the savanna ecosystem, the forest ecosystem, the wetland ecosystem. We have the mountain. We have a 1 kilometer forest walk where you can walk while seeing free-ranging animals and butterflies and plants for you to be able to assimilate and appreciate Uganda's ecosystems. We've also built the animal exhibits that we have and plant exhibits basing on Uganda's national parks. You will find that we have Queen Elizabeth National Park. The animals and plants that are there are representative of the animals and plants within the wild Queen Elizabeth National Park. You will find Lake Mburo National Park, you will find Budongo where you have the chimpanzees, you will find the Murchison Falls where you have the falls over the various rocks that we have recreated. And the purpose is to give opportunity for people to discover what they can find in the national parks. This center is now acting as a marketing tool for Uganda's national parks, in addition to acting as an insurance center for the animals that are in the wild. Should there be a problem, we should be able to reproduce the endangered species and reintroduce them back into the wild. So that model is helping Uganda to promote the wildlife, to promote the culture, because we've set up all these Uganda's attractions in our information center. We have built an information center that is able to inform the public about what to expect when they visit here, but also when they visit the national parks. You'll find that most tourists who are leaving the country, who could have missed some animals like lions, like cheetahs, they are able to pass through here and see them. And those who fly into the country, many of them stay here first. They come here first for them to be informed about what is to be found in the various national parks. So that is playing a significant role in terms of promoting Uganda's tourism as well as conservation of the wildlife, because it is acting as a window on Uganda. In addition to boosting the wildlife numbers, I'm happy to inform you that we now have a pair of tigers that are found only here in the whole of East African region. We worked with a zoo in South Africa and brought the tigers here, which is a major attraction, but also a major education tool, because tigers are in our syllabus and our children could not differentiate, even adults, they could not differentiate between tigers, lions, cheetahs, leopards, but now they are able to differentiate between the different cat species that we have. And that's a deliberate education action for us to be able to educate Ugandans about the different species of cats that we have. Through our education programs, we've established species-specific education programs. When you come here, you're able to learn about the lions through the Lion Conservation Education Program, the Cheetah Conservation Education Program, the Giraffe Conservation Education Program, the Elephant Education Program, and many others. And the aim or objective is for us to be able to highlight in depth the species-specific opportunities, challenges, and threats, and what the visitors can do about it. We are able to tell you the number of lions that are left in the wild, the threats that the lions do face, and what you can do about it as a visitor or as a Ugandan, because in all that we do, we are trying to promote positive self-conservation action. We want everybody to do something small, however small it may be, for the conservation of the environment. If you're able to plant a tree, an indigenous fruit tree or medicinal plant tree during your birthday, for example, if you can plant a tree during your marriage ceremony, you'll have contributed a lot to the green growth and green economy of our country, and you'll have supported the program that is fighting climate change. We also have got quite a number of achievements in addition to those other activities I've talked about. At the moment, in addition to those programs, we've set up species-specific programs that is educating Ugandans, and like I said, it is done here in Entebbe, but also during our outreach. We've been able to acquire a mobile rig education van. We can now drive from here to Gulu or Lira or Chisoro or Fort Portal, Karamoja, and educate Ugandans, because we've got a self-contained education van where we put animals, we put audiovisual materials, we go and educate. We've been able to bring on board competent staff that are technical in wildlife management issues. As you know, we work with wild animals and they are very dangerous, and therefore you need a highly technical and competent staff for you to be able to do this work without animals escaping, without animals hurting people, because an escape of just one animal can kill Uganda's tourism sector. So we've been able to attract competent staff that are able to do their work in a highly technical manner. We've been able to set up partnerships with zoos outside Uganda to be able to train the staff in animal management. We have also been privileged to be the members of the World Association of Zoos and Aquariums, where you are just invited by the way to be a member as a result of the good practices that you are doing. We are also members of the Pan-African Association of Zoos and Aquariums, where I am the chairman at the moment for all zoos and aquariums in Africa. We were audited by the Pan-African Association of Zoos and Aquariums, and we were found to be the best zoo in East, West, and Central Africa. And we are the coordinating zoo for all zoos and aquariums in this region, East, West, and Central Africa. And through this, we've been able to raise the bar in terms of zoo management affairs in the whole world. We've been able to set up a library where you can come and get literature about conservation education and wildlife management. We've also contributed to the training of Ugandans. Over the last 10 years, we've been able to train over 500 Ugandans through internships, through volunteer placements, and many of these Ugandans have actually got jobs as a result of their exposure here at the Uganda Wildlife Conservation Education Center. But also improved a lot in terms of infrastructure. This center used to be known as the old dilapidated zoo, but I am glad that when you come here now, you are able to enjoy your country. You are able to enjoy modern infrastructure. We've improved the sanitation and hygiene. We have modern toilets. We've set up sheds, resting sheds, where our visitors can rest. We've set up Wi-Fi in the whole center. So as you tour, you can be able to take a selfie and send it to the people at home. And through that, they are attracted to come and visit. We have the longest beach line in Entebbe, 360 meters. We have the best children play area in Entebbe. We have a good restaurant, because when people are going to travel, they make decisions depending on availability of good food, safety and security, and we've sorted those. There's enough security and safety. We've installed a CCTV surveillance system all over the center. We have established a very good restaurant where you can eat as your children play. We have established accommodation. We have cottages, we have apartments, so a family can decide to come on a Friday and go back on a Monday. We have the best animal hospital in the region, with highly competent veterinary staff and animal keepers who complement each other to ensure adequate animal health and welfare, which is key in promoting tourism of the country, because a visitor wants to come and look at very good and healthy animals. A lot has been achieved. In addition to the restaurant and children play area, we have a competent and highly educated staff in all the departments. Education and information, we've got competent teachers who are developing the curriculum. We've developed a curriculum for the center, we've developed a curriculum for the outreaches. We have veterinary doctors, we have animal keepers. We have established a wildlife discovery center where children are taken first to be educated about wild animals, and then they are now transitioned through the big animals. They are taught first about domestic animals, then they transition through the smaller animals, where they even learn about adaptations, where they feel the animals, and thereafter they are transitioned to the big wild animals. So they learn from the known to the unknown. I am glad that all this has been achieved, and I want to thank the government of Uganda for their support. I want to thank Ugandans out there, a lot of partners that have supported us over the years. We have navigated through COVID at the moment as a result of the great support of the government of Uganda, Ugandans, the Indian community in the country, companies like Civil Aviation Authority, companies like Xlubs, Payway, have been very, very critical and supportive. I also want to call upon Ugandans. You can sponsor an animal, you can donate to an animal, you can adopt an animal, and you can give this as a gift to your loved one during his or her birthday. Through that, you are doing the small self-conservation action that we talked about, so that you contribute to the wildlife conservation of the country, the general environmental conservation of the country. That is the goal that we should all be involved. Of course, along the way, there has been quite some challenges. Challenges include the attitude of the people. When you go out to take the conservation education message, people are preoccupied with their daily livelihood needs. They are not willing to listen to you. Environmental challenges and problems, issues of climate change are not yet directly felt by the communities. So they feel that this is a problem that is far from them. They think that the animals and these environmental challenges are a government issue. It's none of their issue. So we have a challenge with attitude of the people that we teach. Of course, funding has been growing. I am glad that for the last 10 years, we have been able to move from about 2 billion to around 12 billion now is our budget, which is a significant change and positive change. Our assets have grown from about 3 billion to about 120 billion now. That is our asset base, which shows significant growth, all as a result of the support of the government of Uganda, the various partners to whom we are very appreciative. We're now working hard as we move forward to establish regional wildlife conservation education centers. The government of Uganda is happy about the achievements here at Entebbe Zoo, but it is not enough, and therefore we've been mandated to extend to the other regions of the country. We've already secured 60 acres of land in urban forest reserves, thanks to the National Forestry Authority. We are going to work in partnerships to protect the urban forest reserves in Gulu, Mbale, Mbarara, and Rugombe in Chenjojo. We are going to establish regional zoos like these ones, because zoos must be in urban setting in order to promote their sustainability. So we are going to establish these zoos so that Ugandans and non-Ugandans in urban settings and those in rural settings can all benefit from the knowledge, the skills, the tourism promotion and conservation promotion that we are doing, so that together we can conserve our country in Uganda. In addition to the satellite centers that we are going to establish, we are also traversing the country by using our rig van. We have acquired golf carts. Right now, there are people who may come to visit the zoo and are not willing to walk. So we have secured golf carts. They will be able to drive themselves around with their families and loved ones. We've secured a travel truck. Those who are not able to walk around, or those who are not able to use the golf carts, will be able to be driven around in a truck with a guide on board. And that all increases our competitiveness. It increases our service provision. We are also glad that the government of Uganda has supported us to develop infrastructure. The infrastructure that we have was last put in place in 1994, but we've been able to refurbish all the animal exhibits, including the lion holding, the hospital, the reptile house. We've been able to revamp the chimpanzee house. We've been able to put up a modern tiger house. We repaired the elephant exhibit. And all of this is helping us to promote safety, security, but also compliance to international zoo standards, since we are members of the World Association of Zoos and Aquariums and the Pan-African Association of Zoos and Aquariums. We are now celebrating 70 years, which is a great milestone because we've walked the journey since 1952. And as a result of celebrating the 70 years, we had the launch of the celebrations. We are organizing an exhibition and open day here at the zoo on the 25th of November. We invite Ugandans to come and visit and see for themselves the journey we have moved over the years. There will also be an exhibition that people can come and participate in, so I invite them. We're also going to have a conservation education conference where we are going to present papers about our work and the research we have done over the years for people to appreciate more what we do. We are not just a zoo, but rather a center that is doing a lot more than display and show of animals. We educate people more about those animals, but we also do research, and so I invite people to come and see what we are doing. In addition to that, we are going to conduct a veterinary camp from the 10th to the 13th of November this month, where we are going to vaccinate dogs, we are going to vaccinate cats free of charge. People are invited to come. Entebbe Mayor's Garden, we are setting up a vet camp to support people as a way of giving back to them, because they have supported us over the years. And the celebration will climax with a dinner at Speak Resort Munyonyo on the 2nd of December 2022. We expect the Prime Minister to come and preside over this function. I invite all our well-wishers to come and join us. I want to thank our partners who have supported us over the years. Government of Uganda being number one on the list, by putting in place a regulatory and legal framework, they have been able to put the institution on a good footing. We thank the government, we thank the various partners. The private sector has been very supportive in terms of critiquing what we do. The media has been our great ally. I want to thank the UBC for inspiring Uganda, but also supporting us over the years, and other media players. It has been great. By highlighting the work we do, people have been coming and promoting our work and joining our efforts in conservation education as we celebrate the 70 years. I appeal to the various stakeholders, come and visit. Come and visit the Entebbe Zoo. Come and visit the centers that we are setting up in the regions, and please continue supporting conservation of wildlife in the country, because it is promoting Uganda's economy, and through that then we get infrastructure and other services promoted in the country. I thank you.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.